All right, it is now time for the Week 9 Fantasy Show. We're back after missing a week. We will go over what happened in Week 8 first, starting with my matchup versus Slaps. And Slap edged out a 10-point victory, 126 to 116. I now fall to the dreaded 1 and 7, last place, tied for last. Slaps moves to 5 and 3 and sitting in a very good position currently in a tie for fourth. So a big win for him to pull it out as it came down to Monday night. I was a little surprised that my team put up 116 points because at the beginning of the week it was looking very grim after Jamar Chase, after trading for him 2 days later, picks up a dreaded hip injury all of a sudden out of nowhere and is out for a while. Just to sum up my season in a nutshell, that Jamar Chase trade basically sums it up. So not a whole lot of hope on my side. A lot of rough plays this year. A lot of players underproduced. Then a lot of them got hurt. Then you trade for a player that you think is healthy after he has a huge game the previous week against me, and then somehow picks up some dreaded hip injury for multiple weeks and is going to be out. So just my luck. But GG's slaps. His Nick Chubb came through for him on Monday night, getting him 25 huge points that he needed to put him over the edge against me. His Deontay Foreman trade as well with Bill really helped him put up 31 points. Just my luck. Deontay Foreman, who has done nothing in his whole career, the 1 week I face him in a leading back role, he puts up 31 points with 3 rushing touchdowns. So that pretty much sums up the matchup. Those two players right there getting slaps all the points you need. Any comments on the victory or your season overall, slaps, that you'd like to?
GG's, buddy. Sorry that
Are we going over the
sorry I'm the
offers
one that's
Good
almost
move
sent
by
you
you.
to the. Sorry, the one that's almost
Yes,
sent you to
pretty
the
much
beach,
grim.
but
Yes, so with 6 weeks remaining in the regular season, basically, I have to win out to get to 7 and 7, and then hope that that would be good enough. So it's looking very, very, very grim, considering my next few opponents are going to be the top of the league team. So it's looking very grim, but we're chasing just not to be in last place, and at least that will be a competition down the stretch for me to still play for. But moving on to the next matchup, we had Ernie versus Pook in another big battle of top teams, and Pook comes out on top pretty handedly, 150 to 121, sends Ernie to 4 and 4, still in the playoffs right now in the sixth spot. Pook picks up the win to move to 5 and 3. So a big win for him after about an hour into the Sunday games, proclaiming he's on the beach and his team is done and he's over, his season's over. He then went on to cruise to a 150 to 120 win. If that isn't Pook in a nutshell, I don't know what is. Always overreacting on Sunday, a couple hours into the games, as his big boys popped off for him. 40 huge points for Christian McCaffrey, as he did basically everything being traded to the 49ers. He threw for a touchdown, he ran for a touchdown, and he caught a touchdown. Typical McCaffrey, huge performance after his first week last week, not doing a whole lot. He was involved like crazy. So that was basically 33 points from Tony Pollard as well. Got a big break with Elliott being out. So Tony Pollard was put in there. His wide receivers did fuck all, but he didn't need it when his two running backs score 70 alone. That's all you need. On Ernie's side, didn't really have a chance with those running backs popping off. He picked up Daniel Jones for this week with his boy Herbert on a bye, and he didn't do much with only 9 points. Running backs, though, once again, Stevenson looking like a stud. Another 21-point game. Cook had a good game. Jefferson just solid. I mean, his team did all solid all the way around to put up 121, but he just runs into the buzzsaw. If you're going to beat a Pook team, you got to score close to 130, 140, and hope to get lucky somewhere around there. So 121 ain't enough for Ernie. Moving on to the next matchup, we had both unbeatens finally go down in the same week, as Cheese loses on a Monday night thriller to Pussy, 132 to 139, falls to now 7-1, his first loss on the year, still sitting very well for a playoff spot and possibly the top seed with Tyler losing as well. Pussy picks up the win, big win for him to go to 5-3. So if he would have lost this game, would have fallen to that 4-4 pack, been right on the edge. So 5-3 keeps the game up on those guys below him in the playoff standings. Both teams put up a really good amount of points. Can't really fault either team for their effort. 132 to 139 is a good score. Both teams had some players really do good. The only thing I guess you could say was Cheese was celebrating the trade me and
I
Pussy
know.
made. where he thought I was getting a good end, trading Chase and giving him the Eagle stack, and that turned to be the total opposite because Chase was out and the two Eagles popped off for 28 and 39 points, and that was kind of the difference in the
Yeah,
matchup was
AJ
those two
Brown
Eagle.
took it personally.
Yes, yeah, he took it personally that you were shitting on him, Cheese. But
Well,
any
I mean,
comments after
look,
your loss
look.
to the midget?
We put up 132. It's not like we
Okay.
put up shit numbers.
Yep.
I put up over 130 like 5 the last 6 weeks. We're going
Yeah.
strong.
The only thing I
And
will say is you were sitting pretty
well,
good
Joe
to have a
Burrow.
chance
Okay, the
to
Bengals O
win on
line,
Monday night,
the
and
Bengals O
your
line
Joe
decided
Burrow who's been
like
popping
literally
off.
shat itself. Look, it
Yeah, I
happens.
mean,
It happens. You're not going to win every
okay.
game.
Are you worried at all that Joe Burrow might not
Shut up,
keep up
bitch.
that
You thought
big
you were gonna win
pace
every
Zombie,
with
you
game.
got a
Chase?
fucking ass team. Shut the fuck up. I can't hear you down
Are
there in
you
the
worried
standings.
that with Chase being out that this may revert Joe
Look,
Burrow back
look,
to average because he was
look.
popping off before this week
Even if
with
Joe
Chase
You've
leaving?
only
Burrow,
scored more than 132
Zach, you
points
have one
four
win.
times.
Shut up.
Four times. You over-exaggerating,
Zach,
buddy.
you have one win.
Buddy, you're so annoying. You're
Zach, have
not
you
gonna
ever
fucking win
scored over
shit in the
120
playoffs.
points at all? I don't think
Can't
so.
wait to see you fucking lose in the first
Shut
round
the
just like
fuck
Bill
up.
did last year.
Okay.
Shut
Look,
the fuck up!
Okay,
look. I hope Dan
okay.
Snyder takes back his selling and he keeps the team
Ooh.
forever.
Dan
All right,
Snyder's
all right.
probably
Well,
gonna win more playoff games than you fucking ever will in
speaking of
fantasy
Zach,
football.
moving on to his matchup in the heartbreaker
Yeah.
of the week. This was
Oh
almost a tie.
no.
This was almost so close to a tie, which would have been ironic considering Zach always projects ties that his team would tie. It was close, but in the end, Matt, with a touchdown on Monday night by T. Higgins, gets him just enough for the win, 115.74 to 115.4. Zach keeps me some company down at the bottom at 1-7. Matt picks up a much needed win to move to 4-4 to keep his playoff hopes right in grasp. So kind of just an average score by both teams. Had some players pop off. Zach traded for Waddle, which turned out to be very good as he popped off for 30 huge points. CD also had a nice game who he traded for. So his guys he traded for did well. Dak did well. But you got to look at the running backs as the running backs let Zach down. McKissick did nothing, and David Montgomery kind of had a bad game as the Cowboys pretty much stuffed him up. On Matt's side, he just got solid performances all around. Kamara was his big winner, 42 huge points, the biggest game for so far this year for Kamara, and that kind of helped lead the way. But the D Higgins touchdown on Monday night is what breaks Zach as he looked like he had the win, and just by the narrowest of margins fell short. Zach, your comments after the heartbreaking.
This is actually the second year in a row where I've lost to Matt by I think less than a point.
Ooh. Oh no, that
Somebody
doesn't
needs to
that
confirm that.
sting? Doesn't that sting that it's Matt that you've lost this
Well,
closely to
not
both
so much
times?
this year because I
Oh,
really don't give a
okay.
fuck at this point because I'm
Oh,
1-7,
understandable.
1-6
Yes.
at the time. But last year definitely hurt. This year I really don't give a fuck.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So big win, like we said, for Matt to keep himself right in that hunt for those playoff spots. He's right now just on the outside based on points for him, so he's right in it.
I'd like
Moving
to
on.
mention that
Oh,
last
go ahead.
year the worst record had 4 wins. So
Yes,
can our
that is
worst
true.
teams this year pass them?
And who had those
I
four fucking
I'm
wins?
going.
Me and
Who
I am
had
Pusa.
those
going.
four
Me and
wins?
Pusa, and now
I'm
we're
going
on the
to
come
make a
up.
prediction. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. The last place team, whoever it may be between me, myself, or Bill's still in the running, will not get 4 wins this year. I will go out on a limb. Now, I may be projecting my team based on how it looks to not get 4 wins because I don't see no way in hell that my team is getting 4 wins based on the schedule that I have remaining. I have to play some of the top teams still remaining. So I'm going to just say if it is me that gets last place, I will not be surprised, and I don't think I will be getting to 4 wins based. Unless Chase all of a sudden ditches the crutches and comes back in like 2 weeks, maybe then I'll have a slim hope. But other than that, there's no way in hell my team getting 4 wins. Now Zach's team, I don't know if his team gets 4 wins either, but I don't think the 4 win mark will be hit by the last place team this year. Anyways, moving on to the next matchup, another big upset for Hunter, another huge win for Hunter to keep his playoff hopes right there as he takes down the other unbeaten team, Tyler. Team finally comes down to earth with only a 97 point total for Tyler, one of the lowest of the week. As Hunter, though, only scores 105, but picks up a much-needed win. Really, Tyler's whole team kind of shit the bed, with the exception of Cooper Cup, but he always does his thing, so that
His
was no
team shit the bed
surprise.
back-to-back weeks.
Tyler Lockett didn't do that, or Tyler Lockett did okay, had a decent game, and Kittle had another okay game. But in the end, his beloved play of Chase Edmonds that I should have never dropped, according to him, didn't come through for him and only picked up
And his beloved
1.4
Hunter
points.
Renfro.
And his beloved best flex, who he said a few weeks ago is the best
Prey
flex
upon
player to
you.
have in the league, and Hunter Renfro, who he had to not play in flex, although he did have Tyler Lockett. I guess he could have switched him. It didn't really matter. Only put up 1.6 points as well. Those really let him down. On Hunter's side, not that great. He continues to struggle with picking the correct quarterback as every week. I mean, he benched Trevor Lawrence a couple weeks ago and he went off, and Wilson did nothing. He had another. Who was his third quarterback? He had a third quarterback as well that he played, I think, last week or something,
Was it Danny
and it didn't
Dimes?
work out. Yeah, it might have been Daniel Jones. And then he puts in Trevor Lawrence this week against the tough Broncos defense, and he didn't do nothing over there in London, so he should have played Wilson instead, which it didn't come back to hurt him, as he still got the win, but contributes to the low point total. Jonathan Taylor, another bad game. He's looking like kind of a first overall or second overall pick bust this year. He's also picked up an injury this week, so we'll see if he even plays. So not looking that great, but when you have Tyreek Hill and you have some good options at wide receiver, and then TJ Hawkinson getting traded could help boost him a lot. So we'll see what happens with some of his players. Obviously, a team that could easily make the playoffs on paper, but we'll see if he can get the wins and play the right players. That's the big question for Hunter's team. Tyler, like you said, falls to 7-1, still right there for the number one seed with Cheese losing as well. So not a huge deal, but Tyler's team will have to pick it up after a couple bad weeks.
Well, I'm closing in on him on points for.
Yes. Oh, okay. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. We'll see if he can get his team turned around here. Starting Chase Edmonds is not a way to score a lot of points. Moving on to the final matchup of the week. This was a bit of a surprise just because of how big of a blowout it was.
I
A
mean,
bye week Bill was not a bye this week as he picks up a huge win, 139 to 100. Zombies team once again with another low scoring 100 points. He has some of his players back, but they didn't perform as he only puts up 100 points. Tua did really well, though, with 29 huge points, who he shipped away. Algier with another good game. His running backs did solid, but it was the bottom half of the lineup. He played Elijah Moore, who was wanting to be traded and then wasn't traded and then put up a goose egg and got
Fuck
no targets.
Salah.
Yeah, and Isaiah McKenzie
whoa!
also with a low scoring game as he had to deal with a few buys with his Debo being out
Yeah,
due
well
to
now he
injury,
has RB1
and
in
Mahomes
Buffalo.
on a bye. So he had to deal with those, and it did not go well. But even if he played the right or had those players, I don't know if it would have mattered because Bill put up 139 big points. Just an all-around solid. Besides Cortland Sutton doing shit, I mean, he got 35 huge points from Derrick Henry, 33 huge points from Hopkins. Hopkins come back and look great, which is a big boost to Bill's team. I mean, the Hopkins coming back and looking this good might just keep Bill out of the cellar just on that coming back alone. That's a big boost for Bill with his two good running backs that he has. So overall, very good for Bill. Picks up the win, much needed to go to 2-6, gets a game ahead of me and Zach, and as well as helps his points for with the 139 big point. So looking at the standings, Zombie, you want to make any comments on your loss to Bill? Or your team
Bye
in general,
week.
because a lot of people are questioning your team and they ain't putting up many points the last few weeks.
Bye week Bill had a easy win because of my
Ooh.
bye week, ironically.
Okay.
You hate to
Okay.
see it.
All right. So you're happy overall with your team still.
Yep. My season
Okay.
starts now, like my
Oh,
Lakers.
okay. All
I
right.
would.
Well, looking at the standings, like we said, we have two teams at 7-1 atop. Then we have what is it? Three teams at 5-3. We have Pook, Slaps, and Pussy all at 5-3, sitting pretty good at the moment. But they're only a game up on the 6, 7, and 8 seeds. So if any of those 5-3 teams drop a game and are below in points for, then Matt could overtake them and they could find their way out.
Matt
So
can't overtake
still a lot to
anybody.
play for.
Look at his
Well,
points
not right
for.
now, but you never know over the course of the next few weeks if his team pops off. But then we have Ernie and Hunter would get in at the last two spots at the moment at 4-4. That would be just out based on points for. Then Zombie at 3 and 5 has some work to do. Bill 2 and 6 as well. And then me and Zach bring up the rear at 1 and 7. Like we said, right now, me and Zach are 3 games out of a playoff spot plus points for. So we'd have to gain a lot of points between then and now. So it's looking very grim for me and Zach in the depression zone as well as Bill. But it's not over with 6 weeks left to go. As Ernie would want you to believe, we lock it down. We are not locking it down yet, as it is not that moment or that time yet to lock it down. But still a ways to go in the season, but a lot of these teams towards the bottom are going to have to start turning around, and their teams are going to have to start changing or looking a lot better if they're going to have. All right, moving on to the preview then for week 9 as we get into the week 9 matchups, starting with myself versus Cheese. As we see here at the moment, Cheese is looking like a easy cruise victory for him, 121 to 99. As my team on paper not looking that great, as Geno Smith against Arizona, who had a decent week last week. AJ Dillon in there against Detroit. Detroit's a bad defense, but it all depends on how much they use Dillon and if he can get a touchdown, if he gets me any points. Kenneth Walker in there against Arizona should be decent. DJ Moore after his back-to-back big weeks against Cincinnati, who is down one of their best corners, so hopefully that'll be good. Brandon Cooks, who's questionable against Philly on Thursday night. Hopefully he'll probably be switched out because it's looking like he won't play as he hasn't practiced, which honestly against Philly might not be a bad thing because he's probably going to get shut down anyways. Darren Waller, if he plays against Jacksonville. If not, we'll have to pick up a tight end as Freiermuth is on a bye. And newly acquired Drake London right now against the Chargers and the Vikings defense against Washington. Some of those players could possibly change depending on if they play or not. On Cheese's side, he has Joe Burrow against Carolina. Pretty good matchup there. Looking for a bounce back after the disappointing week. I'm sure Burrow will probably pop off. Etienne against the Raiders, also pretty decent. Sanders on Thursday night against Houston, so we both at the moment have a Thursday night player. Should be a good matchup there for Sanders as long as Hurts doesn't steal all the carries. Diggs against the Jets, pretty good there. Evans, I'm sure Diggs will put up 35 because one player that I'm facing always does, so he's probably the guy that will. Mike Evans against the Rams, he's questionable, but should probably
He's
play.
always questionable.
Ertz, that's right. Ertz against Seattle. Tyler Boyd after a good game this past week against Carolina. So you got the Burrow connection, and the Chiefs defense against Tennessee. I believe that's what the Sunday night game or Monday night game.
I don't know. I just picked them up because rookie quarterback.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, I'm not a bitch, so I will pick myself to win. But it's going to take a goddamn miracle to win this week. That's all I'm going to say. So pray to the fantasy gods that I somehow get my miracle. Maybe a couple of Jesus players get hurt somehow during the game and get 0 points. That's basically what it's going to have to take.
I don't have
for
Mr.
me to get a
Concussion, the Sun
victory
God on my team.
this
We're
week.
healthy over
Yeah,
here.
well, hopefully some of them turn into. But so that other than that, there's no chance in hell that I'm going to win. Let's see. Cheese, are
I'm
you
taking
getting this
myself.
one? Yes, obviously. Okay. Slaps. This should be a quick prediction.
Oh,
Slaps here. Hello.
I think we lost him.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize my mic was muted. Sorry, I said cheese.
Okay.
Cheese. Okay. Zombie.
Cheese is so lucky.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, he is. He's
I score 130
had some
points
good
every
fortune.
week.
He's had some good fortune with some players this year, but he's also made some good moves. So it's a little bit of both.
I think Golfer's gonna win.
Okay, Zombie. Sure. All right. And Zach.
I'm not sure who Cheese is playing, but
Golfer.
Cheese's opponent is
My
gonna
shitty
win.
team.
Okay, you think Golfer's gonna win?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think I'm gonna win? All
Yep.
right. All right. Moving on to the next matchup of the week, we have Pook versus Pussy, and this is a good matchup. Both these teams 5-3. Pook has already made some bold predictions in the chat that if Pussy loses this week, his season is going down the tubes. And I'm sure if Pook loses, he will project his season to be over because we all know how he does with that. Right now, at the moment, Pussy projected to win 116 to 112. Pook has Lamar Jackson against the Saints, Aaron Jones against Detroit, good matchup there. Rashad White in there against the Rams, interesting. Christian Kirk, who's been struggling lately. He's got the Raiders, though, which are not looking good. So that's a good matchup there. Jacoby Myers against the Colts. Mark Andrews says questionable if he doesn't play, though. He has Likely, who he'll throw in there instead. So either way, should be decent. And Romeo Dobbs in the flex against that dreaded Detroit defense as well. And the Eagles against Houston on Thursday night could have put up a lot of points as well. On Pussy's side, he has Jalen Hurts, the Eagle boy against Houston. So a great match. This Thursday night game for this matchup will be very big. Both players have some good prominent players in that game. Jamal Williams in there, who should probably be the lead back this week as Swift is out. The question is, who does he play as a second running back? Because Swift is also in there at the moment. It doesn't look like he's going to be playing. Pittman against New England. A.J. Brown as well against Houston. Dallas Goedert. So he's got the 3-star Eagles who could put up a shit ton of points against that Houston matchup. And Gabe Davis in the flex against the Jets also could be decent. And the Bengals against Carolina. This is, I think, going to be a higher scoring matchup. I said you got to score 130 at least to beat Pook. I think Pussy's team does score over 130 points this week with that Eagles stack in that great matchup. I like the tight end as well for a good game. So I'm going to take Pussy in a bit of a upset over Pook based on the matchups in a close matchup though. Cheese, who's winning?
I am looking forward to seeing Pook tweet out I'm going to the beach before his Baltimore
Ooh,
stack dominates on Monday
okay.
night and he wins.
Oh, and he wins. Okay, let's turn there. Slaps.
I am going to go with Pook, to be honest.
Okay. Zombie.
Pook's team is so trash.
Pusa is starting 5 players on 2 different
Uh,
teams.
He does have his McCaffrey on a bye, which is a
He's actually
big
starting
blow to
6
him.
players on 2 different teams.
But
He's very
McCaffrey and Pollard all on a bye, so that really hurts Luke this week, possibly with the bye issues. But who are you taking, Zombie?
I am guaranteeing that Pusa will win.
Wow. Okay. And Zach.
My boy Pusa.
Okay. All right.
Actually, do you know what? I'm going to change my vote.
Okay. So you're taking Pussy as well.
I am.
All right. So she's the only one taking Pook. Okay. Interesting. All right. Moving on to the next matchup of the week. Another pretty decent matchup here between good friends Zach and Ernie. Right now, Ernie projected for a pretty big. This is similar to me and Cheese's matchup, 126 to 100, 101 for Zach. Let's see. Zach has Kyler Murray against Seattle. McKissick still in there against Minnesota. Montgomery against Miami. Devontae Smith against Houston could be decent though. Newly acquired Devontae Adams, questionable, but if he plays Jacksonville. Mike Gesicki against Chicago. Curtis Samuel in the flex against Minnesota. And the Commanders defense, who he just keeps riding that Commanders defense against Minnesota. On Ernie's side, Herbert back in there off the bye against Atlanta could be pretty decent. Stud Stevenson against the Colts. Dalvin Cook against that Commanders defense. So Cook could knock that defense down in points possibly. Jefferson as well against the Commanders defense. Keenan Allen, if he plays, which is not looking likely after his comments he made this past today about his hamstring not looking good after the bye. Kyle Pitts against the Chargers. Chris Olave, who he would probably bump to wide receiver 2 if Allen is out against Baltimore, and the Bills defense against the Jets could be pretty decent as well. I like a lot of Ernie's matchups. Some of the players obviously on Zach's team I don't like. I do like Adams though as a bounce back after his horrible game last week, but I don't think it's enough as I think Ernie's team is just stronger with stronger matchups on paper. So I'm gonna take Ernie to get the win. Cheese, who's
Ernie.
I think
Not
we
even a
know.
question.
Okay. Slaps.
Ernie.
Okay, Zombie.
It's kind of funny that Zach traded for Adams after shitting on him because of a toe injury all last year.
Yeah. And what is his knock now that he's questionable for? I didn't hear anything about that. What is? Does anybody
I don't
know what?
fucking know.
What
I
is
literally don't even know.
Let me see if it says here. Let's see.
Illness. Ah,
Illness.
COVID. COVID
Oh God,
Adams.
he's
You
got COVID.
you can
He's
play with
COVID
COVID.
Adams.
that is true. You can. It is just the flu after all. So yeah, I'm sure he'll play. No problem. All right, Zombie. So
Uh,
you're taking Ernie?
I am taking my boy Ernie.
Okay. All right,
Wow.
Zach. Do you have any chance of hell of pulling this win off against Ernie, or are we both going to 1-8?
No chance in hell of winning, but I
Okay.
do have a chance at a tie. I
Oh,
surely do. I think
that
this
tie
one
could
could
be
be a
huge for
tie.
you.
I will
Yeah.
pull it off.
Okay, so you're gonna tie Ernie. That
I am.
most likely that tie puts you out of the cellar if you get that
Oh.
tie. So
Oh.
yeah, okay. All right, interesting. All right, moving on to the next matchup. We have a battle of good friends, Hunter versus Matt. And this one, big matchup as they're both 4-4, both the 7 and 8 seed at the moment. So the winner of this stays in the playoffs at the moment. The loser is out at even though we still have 5 weeks remaining, it's still big matchup. Right now, Hunter looking like he might cruise according to ESPN, 123 to 108. Hunter has Tua, who he newly acquired in a trade. He actually made a trade this week with Zombie. Zombie, did you send him that offer, or did he actually like negotiate with you and send the offer?
What offer? The
The
the one
Tua
I did one.
trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I sent it to him because I didn't need to anymore, and I was just trying to upgrade a
Okay,
wide
so you sent
receiver.
the offer and he just accepted it. Or was
Yeah.
there an actual like counter back and forth? Okay. So
No,
so I guess the way to trade with Hunter is send him an offer that he can't refuse.
no. Well, I've been trying. I've been offering him like Heinz the past couple of weeks for him to have
Yeah.
the cuff,
hmm
but he didn't want to do it. But then this week I was just like, you know what? Two is better than Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. Gotcha.
Maybe he'll want it.
Okay. Well, he's playing Chicago this week, so could be decent. Jonathan Taylor, if he plays against New England, so does he? He doesn't have the new cuff. Did he get Hines or no? No. Yeah, he got Hines, but then Hines was traded. So he ends up getting the cuff in the trade, but then Hines ends up getting traded to Buffalo. So now he no longer
Yeah, I
has the
didn't
cuff,
even know
and
that
now
was.
Zombie has the cuff still because you picked up Deion Jackson off of waivers this week. So GG's to you on how that worked. Josh Jacobs in there against Jacksonville, Tyreek Hill against Chicago, Juju against the Titans, who he also acquired in the trade, T.J. Hawkinson. We'll see how much he plays and how well he's involved as he's playing Washington. Raheem Mostert against Chicago. We'll see how the Jeff Wilson trade affects him. So Hunter has a lot of players that got traded on the trade deadline, and we'll see how that affects his team. Could boost some players, it could hurt some players. So we'll see how those all work in this first week since the trade and how much they play. On Matt's side, he has Stafford in there against the Tampa defense. Kamara after his huge game against Buffalo now. Damian Pierce on Thursday night against Philly. Tough defense to play, but Damian Pierce has been balling all year. Higgins against Carolina. Adam Thielen, who got banged up, but I guess doesn't have a questionable mark, so he must be fine. Against Washington. Gerald Everett against Atlanta. Devin Singletary, who against the Jets. So we'll see how much Devin Singletary gets affected by the Hines trade, as they now have still 3 running backs there in Cook, Hines, and now him. And the Colts defense against New England, and Matt still needs to pick up a kicker as his is on a bye. So that is affecting the point total a little bit. So when he picks up a kicker, it's probably like 123 to 116 somewhere. Let's see. This is going to be, I think, a close scoring matchup. I like Matt's a couple of his. I like his running backs a lot more than Hunter's, and I like Hunter's wide receivers a lot more than Matt's. So I think it's a toss-up. I'm going to take Hunter to squeak out a narrow victory. Chiefs.
Hunter, Matt's team has been real bad all year.
Okay. Wow. All right. Slaps.
Yeah, I think Hunter wins this.
Okay. Zombie.
Uh, I think my boy Matt's gonna win.
All right. And Zach.
Well, Hunter has been hitting his parlays
Yes, he has.
recently in the bets chat, so I think he will be hitting this dub in the fantasy football.
Mm. All right, interesting.
Week as
See what you
well.
did there. Nice. All right, moving on to the next matchup, we have Bill versus Slaps. This would be a big one for Bill if he can get the win to keep his playoff hopes alive at 2-6 against Slaps, who's 5-3. Right now, ESPN has him projected to sneak out a victory, 115-111. Bill has Josh Allen against the Jets, should be pretty decent there. Derrick Henry against Kansas City. Antonio Gibson, newly acquired, against Minnesota. Chris Godwin against the Rams. DeAndre Hopkins, who's been popping off against Seattle, should be another good game for him. Taysom Hill in there at the flex against Baltimore. And Terrence Marshall, who he picked up, who's seen an pickup in targets since PJ Walker took over against Cincinnati. And the Patriots defense against the Colts. On Slaps' side, he has Aaron Rodgers, who he picked up for this week with his quarterback on a bye. Joe Mixon against Carolina. Deontay Foreman in there again against Cincinnati could be decent. DK, who he didn't play last week and had a decent game. So apparently he's okay and good to go as he looked fine last week. He gets Arizona this week. Jalen Waddle, who he acquired in a big trade with Zach in Chicago. Tyler Higbee against Tampa Bay. Robert Woods against Kansas City. And the Cardinals defense against Seattle. This is an interesting matchup. I think this game's going to be pretty close as well on paper. They both have some pretty good players. Some of Slaps' players I like a bit more for this week, especially with Hopkins and Henry both going off the last week. Maybe they're due for a little regression week, possibly. So I'm going to take Slaps in a close, pretty high scoring game to get a narrow victory for this week. Cheese, who's winning?
This actually, I think it's gonna be really close. Although I think Josh Allen will carry Bill to the
Ooh,
victory.
all right. He did have kind of an off game against Green Bay. I mean, I think he still put
He'll
up like
bounce back. It's the
10 points.
Jets.
Yep. Okay.
Jets are
Zombie.
fucking good.
Eh.
Shut the fuck up, cheese.
I mean, they're better than your Commanders.
Wow, bye week Bills getting lucky with another bye week by Slaps, huh?
I mean,
I'm
who's
not
on
done with
bye?
trades yet.
He has
His-
Saquon on a
Who's on
bye.
bye? His quarterback?
Bill has Saquon
And
on
Yeah,
a
I mean,
bye.
Bill has Saquon on bye.
And the god tight end Greg Dulcich.
I've
So
got
yeah, so
Nick
is
Chubb.
Dallas
I've got
is
Nick Chubb, Ayuk.
Oh, and Chubb. Yeah, I forgot about
I've
Chubb.
got
Yeah, so
Chubb,
he
See
does
that?
have a
Ayuk,
lot of buys.
Dak
So both
Prescott,
these
and
guys
CeeDee
have
Lamb.
quite a few buys. So it's kind of a buy versus buy.
This
Why it's close.
Not
I
really. He's not
think
really got. He's got
I mean,
basically a full
Saquon
team bar Saquon.
I think Bill's bye
and
week luck ends this week.
Sutton and Schultz and Murray.
Yeah,
Look
Sutton
at his
shit.
bench.
Schultz is
His
shit.
whole bench is on a buy except one player.
Yeah, I know, but they're
Okay.
shit bench players, aren't they?
Okay. All right, Zombie. Who did you say is winning?
I'm going with my buddy Craig.
Okay. Zach.
Slaps by a mile.
Wow,
The trade we
Slaps by a
made
mile.
together won him this week.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right,
And it
Slaps.
also won him many weeks to come.
Are you getting the victory this week against Bill? And also, didn't
I
get your comments on trading away your boy Devontae Adams, who you've held at such a high pedigree the whole
listen,
season, and
I have
then
held
what
him at a high pedigree,
the
and
1
then I
point is
got
what
the
made you decide to ship him away?
no the
Oh,
the the offer that I got
oh,
was what
okay,
decided to ship him away.
okay.
Great
So
offer.
you're gonna get the win this week.
I think I will win this week, yes, but my
Yeah.
team is scary looking forward.
Okay. All right. So you're liking the position you're in. Nice, nice. All right. And moving on to the final matchup of the week. Zombie said his season starts now, and it starts with facing the top team in the league, Tyler, 7-1 versus Zombie 3-5. Zombie not underestimating. His season does start now. If he's going to make the playoffs and keep his back-to-back-to-back streak alive to get another championship and hold on to that trophy, he's going to have to start winning games or else he's going to miss the playoffs. Right now, he's projected to win 114-105. Only 105 for Tyler. Zombie has Patrick Mahomes back off bye against Tennessee. I think that's the Sunday night game or Monday night game. Algier against the Chargers. Michael Carter against Buffalo. I don't know about that. Amon-Ra against Green Bay. Terry McLaurin, who he acquired in a decent trade yesterday against Minnesota. He's been picking it up a little bit. Travis Kelce against Tennessee. And Khalil Herbert in the flex against Miami. And the Seahawks defense against Arizona. On Tyler's side, he has Brady against the Rams. Austin Eckler back off by against Atlanta. That should be pretty good for that. Leonard Fournette against the Rams. Cooper Kupp against Tampa Bay. Darnell Mooney against Miami. Oh, this is why his point total's down. He's got Kittle on a bye, so he's going to have to find a tight end. Does he have one on the bench? He does not. So he's going to have to pick up a tight end or find a tight end. Tyler Lockett, questionable against Arizona. And the Falcons defense against the Chargers. So assuming Tyler gets a tight end in there, it's going to be a pretty close matchup projection-wise. This one, I don't know. I like some of Tyler's upper-end players a lot better than Zombies. But Zombie does have that Chief stack, and you have the Chief stack, anything can happen. If he just gets 10 to 15 points from those running backs with his Chief stack, and assuming Amon-Ra doesn't get CTE again, I think he could pull off the upset. So I'm going to take Zombie to squeak out a narrow upset for this week. Cheese.
Look, the concussion guys will get CTE like 10 minutes in the game as usual.
Okay, again, wow.
And Zombie's team is legitimately terrible outside of the Chief stack. Tyler will pick up a win.
Right. Strong words there. Legitimately terrible outside of the Chief stack. All right. Slaps.
I've got to agree with Cheese on that one. I hate his team apart from the Chiefs stack.
I mean,
so,
I like concussion God when he's healthy, but he's not healthy.
I think that Tyler gives Zombie the D.
Wow, so a blowout. Okay.
Yeah.
Zach.
Welcome to the club, Zombie. Welcome to the club, buddy.
Okay.
Me and
All right.
Golfer and potentially
Yes.
Bill, we saved a spot for you.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll get the Corona ready for you. All right. Zombies. So you said your season starts now, so I'm assuming you think your season starts with a win.
Listen,
The season starts now and ends now.
all I hear is jealousy.
Oh,
Jealousy
what?
they don't have a ring.
Okay.
They don't have
You
a
should
ring.
be
let
jealous
alone
of us.
3.
Our
Technically,
roster's
you don't
gonna
have
get
a ring
fucking
either. We
full
have a
yours.
trophy, Zombie. We don't
Whoa.
have rings.
I
To be
have
honest.
3 rings.
Did you lose the
well,
trophy
yeah.
yet?
They're mysterious and invisible rings.
Jeez,
We
don't
don't
worry
have
about it. You're never gonna see it.
Ooh.
You're not
Yeah,
winning
did you lose
shit.
it? Did you lose it, huh?
Okay.
You're not winning shit.
That moment when
Oh.
he has to send Cheese the trophy this year, that will be great. We'll remember this clip right here.
I predict I will win.
Hold on. I'm here to tell you right now. There's no fucking way I'll be sending money to Zombies so we can ship that shit to Cheese. No
Okay,
fucking
Zach.
way.
Well, you better get a tie this week, then.
I won't fucking be here next year.
Okay. All right. So you're getting the win, Zombie, huh? Narrow victory, or you're blowing them out, or what?
I don't think it's gonna be close. Is all I'm gonna say.
You don't think it's going to be close.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's
Who's
basically
favored?
saying you're going to blow out Tyler. All right. Well, I'm sure
Mm.
Tyler will respond to that in the group chat this week. Depending on, we'll see who he picks up, like we said, at tight end. So some question marks still there for Tyler. All right. Well, good luck to everyone this week in their matchups. Like I said, with bye issues and things, make sure you keep an eye on your lineups.